Welcome. You are meeting now this video. This is a video about sanding, and this one is addressing the tools. And we've had a first one. You can see the link here. This video was for explaining the main principles. So now let's go to the tools. So let's start about the hand equipment. So of course the most important are the papers themselves. So again, here there's the intensity behind. So you will use these papers in any case, especially when you are working on rounded pieces. So either you can use it like this, or you can even put it around totally and then sanding like this. It's almost impossible that you will have works to do without needing to use this manual paper. What you can use in addition to this, it is to this is a hard. It's like a piece of wood basically, and it serves. You put the paper at the size, then put it around. You try to put a little bit of tension so that this surface here is plain, and then you can go for sanding plain surfaces. There is one model which is a bit more elaborated, this one here, and basically the system is more or less the same, but you have these blocking systems here. So you block the paper here, you turn around, you try to pull a little bit so that it's that there's a good tension, and then you put it back here. Then you can close this down, and then you can start the sanding of a plain surface. Then you have also this kind of sponges here, so you can see that they also have the same approach with a graduation in terms of cones. They are soft, so this enables you to reach corners or things you cannot reach with the machines. But honestly, I've been usually disappointed by these sanding sponges, so I don't recommend them. Then you have here a very good thing. This is iron wool, and this is very good for working on rounded pieces or on places where you don't have a good access with the machine, and you have different strength as well. And it's expressed in 0, 00, or 000. But this is a very nice thing. And then there might be cases where you can use classical washing sponge. This is also made out of metal, so this can be used from time to time. That's it for the manual tools. So the first devices for electrical tools, it's this one. Some people think that you will sand essentially with these ones, but it's not true, because the danger of this, it's very rough. So typically if you are sanding wood, you should be extremely careful. So myself, I use sometimes these ones. This is essentially when I want to work in places I cannot reach. So if this is the wood, this little device will go in between the pieces I cannot reach. So you have different models. This is like a brush. This is a very small brush, and this is something you can put on your machine like this. Then you close, and then you will turn it around very fast. And the contact on the wood or on the surface will make that it's going away. But I won't do it here because I'm not in the atelier. So these things as well can get too used. So should it happen, you can buy spare ones. This is looking like this. So even though this one is not a new one, you see it's in a better shape than the others. but usually it's sold, it's cheaper almost by piece when you're taking such kind of pack. And I think it's good to take the whole pack because you will use basically all of them. So don't hesitate to just buy a new one when these ones are too old. So I'm starting with a tool which for me is the most suitable for, let's say, amateurs or beginners. So the machine looks like this. Here, this is for the power. And you have here a container for putting all the dust. Not all the dust, but at least part of the dust. And what is very good with this machine is that you have a good compromise, because on one hand you have the corner, and that's very important because even if you have a big surface, there will be for sure a corner coming up. So that's why you need this shape, and still it has quite a big surface for working on plain materials. So it's the paper is held like this with scratches, and there are two pieces. What is nice with the triangle is that you may rotate in case the top is totally finished. So if this part is finished, you can just rotate the triangle like this, and then you put the larger part here. And so this is sold, the paper is sold in these, it's looking like this, so this is 180, so that's a very nice tool. The second machine is this one. This here, I don't know why, but it's the model that is very, very common. The big advantage of this machine, but that's the only one for me, it is that you can use classical paper. You just fit on the size, and then you can, here with these clamps, you can block it or unblock it. So I would say that's really the only advantage of this machine, is that you can use classical paper. Otherwise, for me, it's really not so efficient. So the idea, you have the surface, and then you put like this, and then you start, and then it starts to sand. But again, I'm not a big fan of this one. So this here is the Rolls-Royce for sanding large surfaces. So it's called an Orbital sand machine. So it's very simple to use. Here you can adjust the strength of the machine. Here you put it on or off. Here there's a little tube which led to a container which I don't have anymore. I don't know where it is. But it's also useful for putting a vacuum cleaner on it. I will tell this later. And the system is like this. So it's again with a scratch. So you just put the paper like this. Make sure that the holes of the machine are well aligned with the paper, because there is a system of aspiration. So if you don't do this, the aspiration won't work. So this is really a wonderful tool. I made my stairs with this tool as an example. So there's just one thing you should be aware of, is that you will need a lot of these papers, and this can also represent a certain budget. But in any case, when you're buying the supply, make sure that you have sufficient papers. So again, here I have 60, 120 and 240. So don't be stingy in buying these little papers. And the last machine I will show you today is another fantastic tool. This is the small triangle. So the system is the same. You have this scratch and you put the paper on it. So this is it's really an amazing tool, and that enables you to reach the corners. Because if you have a very nice surface which is well done with the Orbital, but the corners are not done, it looks all ugly. So that's why this is really super important. So now another important thing to say on this tool, you have different sizes of triangles. So you have either this one, this is the 8 centimeter, or you have these ones, 9 centimeters. But these ones, first of all, the scratching capacity is far less good than the small one. So take the 8 centimeters. And another thing I wanted to tell you is that here this paper has 3 sizes. You will mainly use the size, the row here on the side. So don't forget that you have 3 sides, because they will also get used. So you can, on one hand, do like this. So you will use this side. On the other hand, you can use like this. So this is the other side. And you can also use like this. So don't forget to use the three sides of this triangle. Because the other thing, what happens is that it's really extremely, the powers exercised on this little piece are extremely strong, which will generate the fact that the scratch will not hold anymore. So for that reason, you have to change it regularly. So when you're buying papers, make sure that you're buying some spare of these, because after a while they will not hold your paper anymore. So now it's put. I'm closing down again, and now it's holding. But it means that when you're buying new papers, so it looks like this. So this here, for instance, this is 120. When you're buying the papers, you also have to buy from time to time this spare part, because if this part is dead, the paper won't hold and you won't be able to work with it. So that's why it's very important to always have a spare part for this element. And when you are buying the papers, don't get mistaken with the 93 millimeters. So this is 8 centimeters. So make sure you buy the 8 centimeters and not the 93 millimeters. So this here is just for showing you all my stocks. So this was when I made the stairs. I really consumed a lot. Each of this box cost around 10 euros, so it's really a big budget. So you see I have all the different types of grains. So now for summarizing about the electrical tools. So this here for me is the ideal machine for level 1. It's ideal because you have the angle for making the corners, and you have a rather large surface for doing the rest. So this is a very good machine for entering in the job. If you're going to level 2 and beyond, this here is the perfect combination. So you will not use this one anymore. I mean, it can be used in case you have a problem. But this pair is just fantastic, because you will use this one, which has a very good, which is really extremely efficient. You will use this one for big surfaces, and you will use this one for inaccessible places for this machine, and you will also use it for the corners. So typically when you're doing stairs, this one is your best friend as well. And I would suggest that you get this one. And by the way, there are also new machines with a rotation. And these are looking nice, but be careful, because I'm afraid that the papers are getting quite expensive.